Hey everybody, it's Debbie with Debbie D Stamp Studio. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live and welcome to the second release of Sale-a-Bration. That actually started today, and there are some great new products that are available free with a qualifying order. And a qualifying order is a $50 order before tax and shipping. And or there are level 2 free items that are available free with a $100 order, and that's both before shipping and tax. So I just kind of wanted to flip through the brochure and show you show you the new things that are available starting today during Sale-a-Bration. The Flowering Foils Designer Series paper is really awesome, and we're going to use some of that tonight. Let's see, I've got some pieces, bigger pieces here, so you can see what it looks like. And this comes with 12 pieces. There are 3 each of 4 different designs. So we've got this small little floral print with the copper foiling and silver. It's single-sided. And then we have this the larger flower, and it's also got the copper and silver. Then just a kind of a check design, kind of abstract, that's in the copper. And then a pretty leaf pattern in the silver. And these papers are really fun. You can use them as they are, or you can add color to them. And it's really fun. You can use the sponge brayer to add color. You can color them with your blends. You can use your blender pens and inks. You could do a watercolor wash over it. So lots of possibilities for this beautiful paper. And like I said, I'm going to use it a little bit tonight, so you'll get to see some of that in action. And then one of the $100 items, or if you purchase $100, you can choose this stamp set for free. This is the Rise and Shine stamp set, and it's one of our reversible stamp sets. So like we had back at Christmas, you can stamp with either side of those stamps, so that is really fun. And then we have a really nice masculine set, Well Dressed, and that is a $50 level. And then the So Very Vellum, it's an embossed vellum in 3 different colors. Comes in Pool Party, Purple Posy, and Soft Seafoam. And with this, it's 12 by 12, and you get 2 each of those 3 colors. So again, this is kind of what I'm focusing on using tonight. So the vellum. And then at $100 level, we have the Tags in Bloom. And this is a really pretty set. And the tags coordinate with the 2 new tags in the punches in the Occasions catalog. So those are the new items that began available today. And like I said, I'm going to focus on the So Very Vellum tonight. So a couple people had questions about how they could use it. It's so pretty. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas on what I did with it. So the first card is a white card base and a white layer. And then I've got some die cuts that I cut out using the Poppy Moments dies. These are in the Occasions catalog. So I've got the outline of the poppy. I've got the 2 pieces of the leaf, and these layer together. And then I have also cut from the Stitched So Sweetly dies a small label that we're going to stamp on that. So let's see. So, but I do need my vellum that I don't know what I did with. I probably put it away. So let me grab that. I'm gonna have to cut this real quick so you get to see me cut. I was gonna say my hubby is no longer working out of town, so he's home tonight, and again, kind of throws me off. Have to get back into a routine having him here. He's been working out of town for a little over a year, so yeah, it's kind of an adjustment again. Okay. Just make sure I cut that correctly. Yep. Okay. So this is the so very Vellum. This is the pool party color, and I'm just using this basically like I'm using my designer series paper. So I'm going to use it to layer over my white, and gluing vellum can be a little bit tricky. Most adhesives will show through when you glue it down. So what I'm going to do is use my glue dots and strategically place them where later I'm going to place a rhinestone. So I'm just going to press the paper to the glue dots to pick one up, and I'm just going to do a couple, and that'll be plenty to hold it into place. So I've also the embossing is little dots, so I've just put the glue dot like right under where one of the little dots is. So then when I add my rhinestones, then that will cover up the glue dot and you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this right down to the white cardstock and just press where my glue dots are. So it's not going to be glued down all the way around, but once I get the card all put together, you'll never know that. It won't come apart. So then I'm going to add a strip of the gray granite texture, what is this? Texture weave ribbon. Yes. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this a little bit longer so I can wrap it around. And this is in the annual catalog. So now I can go ahead and I'm just going to add a whole strip across here to adhere my ribbon down. And those little dots help me go in a fairly straight line. So I'm going to line that up on my grid paper. And using my grid paper, still, even though I've got the dots, I want to make sure it's straight. And adhere that down, and then just add a little bit of adhesive on the back side and fold that ribbon around. And I forgot to do, hold on. I'm going to peel this end up here for 1 second because I'm also going to add a little bit of the Whisper White crinkled seam binding. I'm just going to cut a piece of this. And I'm going to lay this right across here on the end, because I'm going to tie that in a bow in a little bit. Now I can put that on there. Okay. So now we're ready to just go ahead and put this onto our card base. And I like to put the adhesive over the ribbon. That helps hold everything down in place. And then we can just layer this right on our card base. Okay. So now I've got my little die cut pieces, and I want to layer these two together. You can use them individually or layered, and you can use them in a two-tone where, since it's leaves, if you were to cut it in green, you could cut it in a light green and a dark green and layer them together. But I wanted it just to be kind of a monochromatic, sort of, so I just cut them both out of the white. So I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue and then just add a tiny little bit of glue to the leaves. and a tiny little bit on the stem there. And then we'll layer that together. Whoop, stick it in my finger. There we go. Have a heater on, it's kind of noisy. So I turned it off. Okay, so now we've got our leaf ready. And we're just going to glue it down to the bottom here. So I'm going to use my liquid glue again. And I'm only going to adhere the bottom part of it. I want the rest of it to be kind of just free. I'm going to scoot it over this way a little bit. Keeps sticking to my finger. Grab a baby wipe there. Okay, and then we have our little outline of our poppy, and this is really fine, so I'm going to use the silicone mat and just put some glue on here. Spread it around with my sponge. Make sure I have this turned over. And then add my glue to the back of the poppy, since this is such a fine area to try to glue. And then I'm going to add this up here. I'm not going to push it down all the way yet because I want to make sure it's in the right place when I add my sentiment. So now for the sentiment, I pulled out the Peaceful Moments. This is a great set. It's got a lot of great words. We're going to use the Happy Birthday, and I'm going to stamp in basic gray. I didn't want it super bold with black, so I'm going with a little bit lighter, the basic gray. So we'll get that lined up on our grid paper, maybe, and stamp that right in the center. There we go. And let's see. I'm going to put this on the card with dimensionals. So I just need one at the top and one at the bottom. So it'll be going straddling that ribbon. So we're going to just kind of overlap it over these two pieces, and I'm going to adjust my poppy here. And now I can push everything down. Okay, and now we've got our ribbon that we laid aside here. So I'm going to tie this in a bow. If I can pick it up. This ribbon, if you haven't touched it, it's so light. It's almost like it's not even there. I love it. And then adjust our bow a little bit here. And trim our tails. Okay, so now we're ready to add those rhinestones to cover up our glue dots, which are barely visible. And the rhinestones come in 3 sizes. So I'm going to use one of the medium ones right over where the glue dot is, and then one of the smaller ones. Oops. And then again, one of the medium ones. I'm going to go ahead and add a set over here. Can't even see my glue dot. So I'm just going to put it on here. And then another small one right there. Let's add another medium one down here. So there we go. Give that a fold. And there we go. There is using the vellum just like it's the DSP. So adds a nice texture layer to your card. Okay. Now the next one, I'm going to use Purple Posy. Haven't used that in forever. And a piece of the Purple Posy vellum. And then I have a bunch of little pieces here. I've got the rectangle from the Nature's Thoughts dies. This is the rectangle that has that cute little border. And then I've also got the little decorative design strip. And this I've cut out of Flirty Flamingo. And then I've got the fern that I've cut out. I actually cut this from the vellum. This is from the soft seafoam vellum. And then I've got a couple other pieces too. So this time we're going to use the Positive Thoughts stamp set. This is one of my most favorite stamp sets from the Occasions catalog. I love it so much. We used it for 3 different cards yesterday in class in different ways. Okay, so first of all, we are going to stamp with soft seafoam the fern. So we'll ink that up. We're going to stamp that on our rectangle. Guess I don't need that. And I'm going to stamp and then stamp again without re-inking. And then I'm going to ink it up and stamp off and stamp again over here. So now we've got our fern. And then I have a scrap of white that I'm going to stamp the pretty flower in Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to ink that up really well. And then stamp that just in the center of our scrap. Oh, I love that. So pretty. I love the detail on that. And then there is a die to cut that flower out. So we'll run it through the die cutting machine. And then we've got our flower. And let's see. Okay. So I think now we're ready to put things together. So we're going to, first of all, layer the vellum onto our cardstock. And this time I'm just going to put a couple of strips of adhesive right in the middle because I'm going to be covering it up with all the other elements of the card. So this is Purple Posy vellum on Purple Posy cardstock. And then we have our rectangle that we stamped our fern on. So we can go ahead and put that on. And that's just going to go pretty much right in the center. Okay, now I have a soft seafoam banner that is an inch wide. Yes, an inch wide, and I've cut the end, the banner end, with the triple banner punch. And I'm going to add my little decorative piece to the bottom of that. So I want to put adhesive very close to the bottom edge of this. So I'm going to use my silicone mat so I can actually run my adhesive off the edge. Whoops, sponge sticking to me. So now the extra adhesive is on my silicone mat and not my placemat. So then I'll lay this down on my grid paper and then just attach, barely overlap it to attach this to my banner. And now we can put this on our card. Well, we can lay it here for a second. Actually, I probably should have stamped it first. I'm going to stamp in basic gray again. And I'm using the words from the Positive Thoughts. It says, friends like you mean more every year. So I thought that was really pretty. So line that up and we'll stamp that in the center. There we go. And now we're ready to put the rest of this together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue to the bottom stem of the fern that I cut from the vellum, and kind of offset this over the ferns that I stamped. And that's going to go there. So that's good. And then my flower I'm going to glue right down to. So just again with the Tombow liquid glue. And this is going to go right underneath here. So I'm going to overlap that little piece, adjust this, and now I can glue my banner down. So we'll just add our adhesive to the back of that, and then line this up. Okay. And then, what happened to my little tiny butterfly? I think he might be on the floor. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know where he went. So I'm taking him, okay. Okay, there's a little tiny butterfly die in the Nature's Thoughts dies. So I've got him cut out of the purple posy. So I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of the Tombow glue just to the body part. And then we're just going to add him up here in the corner. Okay. Then we're going to add a couple pearls to the center of the flower. So I'm going to use 2 medium-sized pearls and then one of the smaller ones. Whoops. It didn't pick up. Right to the center of the flower. So there is that. Give that a fold. And there is using the vellum as an element on your card, and a die cut, and also the background. So that's the purple posy. Okay, let's see. I don't think we need this anymore. And the last card, we are going to use some of the flowering foils paper and some vellum. So I've got soft seafoam card base. I don't need my basic gray anymore. I've got a piece of the flowering foils, and with the copper, I thought that the soft suede looked nice with that. You can also use the copper foil for a layer, but I just thought that a less expensive way to go would be to use your soft suede. So with this one, I just cut a piece of the vellum with a circle, and I'm just going to use it as an element on my card again. And this time we're going to color a little bit with the blends. This paper colors really nicely. So I've got the soft seafoam cardstock, so I'm using my light soft seafoam blend, and I'm just going to go ahead and color the big leaves. And this is so easy to color this paper, and the foiling kind of helps keep you from going outside of the lines. So that's really easy. You can do some shading on here as well. Probably not quite as much as if it were, you know, plain white cardstock, but it still is pretty. So I'm just going to color in the larger leaves. I should have colored some beforehand. I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to do the ones of the main flowers. And just add a little shading in there. Okay. And then with the biggest flower, I'm going to use my petal pink. I'm going to use the light petal pink to color the petals of the flower. And this is one, I think I need a new blend. It's running low. We'll see if we can get this colored in. Again, I'm not gonna, I don't mind if it's not perfect. I like, you know, maybe a little bit of the white showing too. Kind of gives it a little more dimension. Goodness. Hopefully I can get most of it colored just so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm coloring these in kind of a circular motion. It just kind of gives it some more texture. And with the light, well, and the dark, the more you go over it, the darker the color you get. So you can do shading even just with one color of the blend. If you only have the light, you can still make it a little bit dark. Okay, and then let's do the center with the dark petal pink. Just add a little bit of contrast there. Okay, so we can go ahead and put this down on our soft suede layer. And I guess it doesn't matter this way. I can't decide which way I want the card to go. If I want it, I think I'm going to do this. Okay. And then this can go to our card base. This big floral is just the all over print, and it doesn't really matter which way it goes, but just look at it and decide which way you think looks the best. Okay, so now I'm just going to add the circle of vellum in the middle. And I might have to make my card go this way. I don't know. Yes, that'll work. Good. So I'm just going to add this right to the center. Well, actually, I'm putting it a little bit lower because of where my colored flower is. And then I have two banners. Again, I cut these and then bannered the ends with the triple banner punch. And I'm going to use a different saying this time. Oops. And another one from the Peaceful Moments. This is thinking of you with all my heart. And I'm stamping with soft suede to coordinate with the layer. And I'm stamping over to the right hand side a little bit because we're going to add a little bit of ribbon to the left side. And then we can go ahead and put this together. And I'm going to make this end even. And then you can see how that layers nicely with that banner. Okay, and then this will go right across the center of our circle. I might go ahead, there we go. And then I have the pretty organdy striped ribbon in the petal pink. And I'm just going to cut a loop. I might cut it a little longer. And take a piece of white baker's twine. And just wrap this around and tie this in a knot. Whoops. Don't know what I did there. Wrap that around. So I've got a loop and I just am tying it with the white baker's twine. You'll be able to see when I get it done here. There we go. Tie it in a knot so it doesn't come undone. Okay, so there I just have the little loop tied together with the baker's twine. I'm going to trim that baker's twine off so that you can't see it. And then trim the ends of my ribbon. It's a little bit long. And then again, with my glue dots, I'm going to glue my ribbon onto my little banner here. This time I think I'll probably use 2 glue dots. These are the mini glue dots. So just press the ribbon to the glue dot and it will pick it right up. And then I'm going to add that right to the banner. And then we have these really sweet little frosted flower elements. And these just happen to come in petal pink. So we're going to add one of those. These are self-adhesive. So we're going to add one of those right to the center of the flower, or the ribbon. And then, just to dress that up, we're going to add a rhinestone to the center of the flower. So there is that. So give that a fold. And there we go. So that's just adding a little element to your card with the vellum. Just add some interest, and then those cute little flowers, those embellishments. So that is all the cards that I have for you tonight. Thank you. Let's see, we'll lay them out here again so that you can see them. So that is the So Very Vellum and the Flowering Foils paper that are both new release celebration items that you can earn with a qualifying order. So there's some fun ways to use that vellum and the foiling paper. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love stamping with you, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks.